I will typically wash my hair twice a week, and I will blow dry it, sleep on it, and then wake up the next morning and heat style it. I use a curling iron, and I make that heat style session, that curling session, last me until the next hair wash day. So I do not recurl my hair every day in between washing. I curl it once and I make it last. Every now and again I'll have a wonky one, but for the most part I do not touch my hair with any other kind of heat styling until it is washed. So just keep that in mind. After I wash my hair, I do use a couple products. I use the Qiraji Color Fanatic Hair Beautifying Spray. It's a multitasking spray. It detangles your hair. It does offer a little bit of heat protectant. It's got lots of good benefits for it, and it's very lightweight, so I don't feel it in my hair. So I spray that everywhere and comb through it. And then I use the Redken Extreme Anti-Snap. This is like a must-have for me. It's an anti-breakage leave-in treatment. So if you've got fine, damaged, highlighted, colored hair that you notice breakage or it's more prone to breakage, this is a lifesaver. So I use a couple pumps of this and I concentrate it on my front and my more damaged areas, but I do work it throughout all of my hair. And then after that, I use the Ology Clean Volume Instant Levitation Mist. I found this stuff about 2 months ago when Sydney gave it to me to try, and love it. It really provides a lot of like grit and lift at my roots once it's curled, and I love it. It's amazing. So I put all those in my hair, comb through it, blow dry it, and sleep on it, and this is where we are. So I don't use brushes really on my hair. I just use one of these wide tooth combs. So I'm gonna comb through it, and then right before I curl it, I'm going to spray some of this Redken 11. It's iron shape. It's a heat protectant, but it also offers a little bit of hold. So you can spray it on each section before you curl it, but I prefer to kind of get all of my hair sprayed with it and then curl it. It's just what works best for me. So what I do is I'll section my hair off. And yeah, the beautifying spray does offer some heat protection, but I kind of view it as like my tinted moisturizer offering SPF. I still want an actual like SPF, right? So even though that hair beautifier does offer some heat protectant, I still want a legit heat protectant on top of that. And it does have restyling technology. So if you do have to recurl your hair or like any sections like the next day, it'll reactivate. So it protects your hair, I think up to 450 degrees. You should not be using any heat that hot, but it will protect it. So I just kind of separate it into 3 sections, and then I'm just gonna spray each section and kind of work it through. So I'll spray the bottom section, then the middle section, and then the top. I don't like spraying it once I've already curled some of the underneath. I just kind of gets it wet again. So I spray it through all of that, and then I'm gonna spray a little bit in my hands, and then I'm gonna concentrate that on my really damaged areas, which usually are around the front, just because I want those to be extra protected from heat. But this does not feel at all like a hairspray. It almost has like a, don't take this the wrong way, it almost has a little bit of like a weird oily feeling, but it's not oily, trust me. I don't do oil on my hair. I don't like to wash my hair. So it's not heavy, but it does feel kind of weird until you curl it. Once you curl it, that film it gives completely disappears, I promise. And this has been the best stuff. It makes your hair shiny when you curl it. So I comb all that through with my pick, comb it all the way through, and then I'm gonna resection my hair the way I did it to spray that. So I do a top section, and these do not have to be perfect. And then I do a middle section, kind of like right behind my ears. What did I do with my clip? So this is where we are. And I use one of these kind of combs, like a fine tooth comb, to kind of comb through each section before I curl it. So this very bottom layer does not need a lot of curl. So I do curl these two little sections that you can see from the front. I curl these loosely towards the back, but then all the middle stuff, I just barely run my iron in it just to get a bend in it so you don't see like a straight line. That you don't even need to check it. It doesn't need to look pretty. Nobody's gonna see it. If you have like any kind of natural wave to your hair, you could probably even get by without curling those at all. It's just because mine is so straight, I have to. So I have my curling iron set at 350 degrees. The lower you can go for your curling iron, the better. I've tried 340 degrees, but it doesn't last as long, the curl for my hair. And I would rather have it at 350, have it a little hotter and only have to curl it, like I said, once every time it's washed instead of recurling every day. I figure that's probably less damaging in the long run. Prior to finding this curling iron, the one I was using didn't have a heat setting, so it was probably like 410 degrees. It was burning my hair, which is why I have a lot of the damage that I do. So see how these two little ones, you can see it from the front. I curl those backwards or facing back, and then I'm just gonna go through and just curl the top section just to put a bend in it. Nothing, I don't even leave it in very long. Just want to bend in it. Then before I move on from each layer, I do pick up my hand mirror and just check it just to make sure I've gotten all the pieces. Yeah, see, there's nothing special about that. It doesn't even have a lot of curl, but it's not stick straight. So then I'm gonna move on to the middle section. Instead of repeating myself, because I tend to ramble on these things, I'm just gonna tell you now, I curl my entire hair facing away from my face. Some people will alternate. I've tried that. I just personally prefer it all face aiming backwards, curled away from my face. And I don't measure sections. I just kind of grab a little bit, comb it out, and go. So I aim it backwards, but I will, on my front pieces, I will pull it towards my face while it's aiming backwards. So I do that for all of this front section, and then the rest of it, it just goes straight down. I'm gonna show you and hopefully that'll make more sense. So it's curled away from my face, but aimed towards my face. It'll make sense. I save all these front pieces for last. They just kind of fill out. So I'm gonna pull it forward towards my face, but it's aimed, the direction is away from my face. Okay, so you see that? So when your hair is shorter, you can't always leave out the ends, which a lot of like the beachy waves or just like less perfect waves, they leave the ends out. You can't do that when your hair is so short. So my method for getting a little bit of a looser end is to pull it down at the end. So again, I'm pulling it towards my face, but I'm curling away from my face. But see how it's angled towards my face? When I get to the end, I'm just gonna pull it down and it'll give me my end straight. So I hope that makes sense. You can see how the curl is facing away, but it's angled towards. That's just how I like it. So I'll do it for those two. Now these from the back, I'm just going to curl just straight down. I'm not going to angle it towards my face. And I let it sit just a couple seconds longer for this first curl. My ends are not in right now. And then I'll pull it through all of it and then pull the end straight. So I clip it and hold it for a second, and then I'll pull it down and get all the hair in there. So I'm gonna go around and I get to about the middle on this side, and then I'll switch to the other side. There is nothing groundbreaking about this, but maybe it'll help. So then I'm gonna pull it straight. If you ever need to recurl a hair because you curled it wrong or it didn't get in the clip right, wait until it cools 100% down. You do not want any warmth to it. So again, I'm doing the front here. So I'm going to comb it towards my face, but we're going to do the curl facing away and angled this way, see? And then pull the end straight. Do the same thing here. I'm gonna aim this one towards my face, but the curl is going away from, and then pull the end straight. You just have to work out with your hair what temperature it needs to be set on to be able to get the best and long-lasting curl. Like you want the least amount of temperature you need to get a curl that lasts, right? Because I mean, if I put it on 400 degrees, that curl is gonna last, but it's gonna damage my hair a lot worse than 350. So find where you get the curl that will last, that's not too hot. And then also how long it needs to sit on your hair. And that just takes practice, you know? So I could do 340 degrees, but I may have to let the curling iron sit in my hair a little bit longer. So you just gotta find that balance, and that only works from by checking it. If you don't, if you aren't able to pull it out and your ends get like extra curly, so I kind of like my ends to be a little bit straighter, but if sometimes in the back it's hard to see and it gets a little bit too curled at the end, you can always, I'll show you an example here. If it were this one, you can always just pull that out and then run your curling iron right where that bend is, and that will help get it out. So I've done that section. I'm gonna turn it around just to make sure I didn't miss any hair. And see, I missed this little hair right here. So I'm going to do that one. Because it's such a small amount of hair, I do not need to leave the curling iron in long at all. So I'm just gonna run that through there real quick and then pull it straight. All right, I was gonna check it. I don't spray anything in it, and I don't comb through the curls until I'm totally done with my hair. So now I'm gonna do the top section. I feel like I do my top section a little bit weird, but it's what works for me. So I get the top section down, and I start right here in this section. I've got weird calyx, and so I like to start in this corner and do like these 3 sections first, and then I do the rest. I don't know why, it just seems to work better for me. So I get a section, I'm just gonna check and make sure I'm not missing any hairs under it. And like that right there, I missed one. So, and you always comb through it before you curl. So I'm gonna hold that. I tend to lose most of my curl from my top section. I think it's because it's probably the most damaged section. All right, so I've got that one. And then I'm gonna do the middle. Just gonna turn around and make sure I got it all in there, and I do. This middle section, I guess you could curl either way. But I try to pull it towards like as straight as possible. You don't want it to, if I have one that's too curly on the end, it's always that one. Yeah, but that did fine. Okay, so then I'm gonna do this one. It's like my back corners. I'm sure there's probably a technical name for it. I just find it easier just to get that part done and then work on the front section. You can always pull a curl down too if it's a little curly. pull it down while it's just out of the iron, and that'll help straighten it too. So those are the only areas that I like check after each curl to make sure that it's the way I like it. And then I'll go ahead and go through and do this side. So this is my thicker layer of hair, right? Because my part's over here, so I have more hair on this side. So I kind of like, this is just how I do it. I'll do this bottom little chunk here, and then this top one, and then this bottom chunk, and then, so I kind of like zigzag. It's not perfect by any means. I just grab sections and go, but that's kind of how I grab. Start at the bottom, and then I'll do this top one. So I comb it, and because this is the top section, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm kind of going to, I'm going to curl everything away from my face, but angled towards my face, all right? And I do not like a ton of volume at the top of my head. I prefer my volume to be like here. Maybe it's just because of the shape of my face. If I have any more volume, it's just gonna make my face look really long. So I'd rather my volume start kind of on the sides. So because of that, I'm not going to like lift up and curl anything from here. I will, like, if you really want volume, if you've got like a really round face and you want to like have a lot of volume on top, I would say when you do your top pieces, like my next piece is going to be this section here. If you want a lot of volume on top, I would lift it up, get your curling iron, come over from this direction with the opposite direction, clamp it here, and curl it this way. That's gonna get you a lot of lift right here. I don't want that lift right there. It makes my face look too long. So I'm gonna do mine to the side, and I'm going to curl it from over on this side, right? So the difference, volume here, you could angle it this way and go like this. But if you don't want that volume straight at the top, see how I'm not including the very top of that hair? I'm gonna clamp it to the side, missing all that right there. And it's gonna get me more volume to the side, right? So there's that piece. See, I don't have that lift there, but I do on the side. All right, and then let's see. So I did the top section, so now I'm gonna do the bottom section. Again, if you have a fancy clip, you can clip it or just kind of move it out of the way. So because this is really close to my hairline, this is the next piece. I've got some, it's up here, but it's a fairly small section. I comb this one completely towards my face because I don't want a big gap at my hairline. I want the curl to start there. This looks really cool. So I'm gonna comb it completely towards my face and put my curling iron really close to my face. And because these are such fine hairs, it does not need to sit very long. And I also don't want this section super curly. All these front sections I want a little bit looser than the rest. Just my personal preference. So I just kind of want that little bit of a curl backwards there. So then I'm gonna do this section. Again, if you want lots of volume on top, aim it up, come across from the opposite direction and start your curl here. If you do not want a lot of volume on top, but you still want volume on the side, aim it this direction, come on the side of the hair, this way. Same thing. I am really particular about these front bang areas. I do not like that like swoop here, which I will inevitably get in like day 2 and 3 hair because I have a natural cowlick there. So I try to combat that. Like when I blow dry my hair, I always blow this straight down. And when I curl it, I comb it down. And then I curl up just the edge of it. I don't leave it in for long, just so it has a bend and it bends away from my face. Okay, I don't want that piece super curled. Just kind of want it away from my face. I'm gonna let that all sit. I'm gonna come over and do this side. This one's a little bit quicker because it doesn't have as much hair. I only do one section on this side. Clamp it away from my face, but angled towards. I should have like thought of a way to word that. Angled, directed away. Let's see, I can't even think straight. The curl goes away from my face, but the hair is directed towards the face. Does that make sense? I don't know. Curled away, directed towards. Again, the more fragile the hair is, the less you want to leave that heat on it. Just put enough on it to get a bend in it. There we go. So then I'm going to, before I unplug my curling iron, I'm just gonna go through and just check and make sure I didn't miss any areas. And I didn't. And I'm going to run my fingers through it and my comb through it just to make sure before I unplug it again that I don't need to recurl any areas. I try my hardest not to have to recurl anything, but every now and again you have to. So I work my fingers through it. And like I said, that Redken 11, this iron shaped heat protectant, it does offer a little bit of hold, but it does not feel like hairspray. Like I said, once you get the curl in it, it doesn't feel like anything's in your hair. So that helps hold it too. So I'll kind of work my fingers through it and then I'm gonna comb it. I comb it out to separate the curls and then I kind of work it with my fingers to get it back together. It's just how I do it. And every time I curl my hair, I feel like it comes out a little bit differently. Just depends on the weather, how I grabbed the hair when I curled it. But this is generally how I do it. So you can see, I don't have the volume here, but I'm getting all the volume on the sides, which is where I personally like it. But I showed you how to get the volume on top if you want the volume on top. And so I showed you on the front, if you want volume on top, you would lift it over and curl this way. And then for this one, on this side, I would curl this direction. If you want the volume here in the back, instead of curling it like this the way I did, I would lift that hair up and I would, curl it higher up on your head. Wherever you put that first bend in it is going to give you the most volume. So I've combed through it and you can see this is what it looks like with no product in it other than the 11 spray. And so I comb through it, which kind of poofs it out a little bit. Then I use my hands to kind of work it back down. And then I'm going to use, where is it? The Qiraji Wind Tossed Texture Spray. This stuff, I've been using it also for about 2 months and I love it, it's great. So you wanna shake it really good. And then how I use it is I pick up and just spray. I kind of start at the end and then work my way up. And you don't need, I shake it in the middle a ton. It'll just kind of break up that hair and give you texture. And then just keep checking with your mirror to make sure that your hair is laying the way you want it to lay. Make sure you have enough product in there. Don't put too much product, because remember, if you are going to be sleeping on your hair and restyling it, I kind of just say, my thought is leave a little bit of room for more product to, refresh it the next day. You don't want to put so much product on your hair that it's oversaturated and just gets too built up or something the next day. So yeah, that's how I do it. That's about all the texture spray that I'm going to use, and then I'm going to top it off with the Qiraji Soft Finish Hairspray. It's a great hairspray. It offers a little bit of humidity resistance, which we definitely need here. And it is super lightweight. You almost can't feel it's there, but it does help maintain it. It's great lightweight hairspray. Spray that all over, check it again, and there we have it. So that will last me until next hair wash day. I will just have to play with it, add a little bit more product in if needed, probably dry shampoo the next day, and then I'm set to go. So I hope you found that helpful, and once you get a routine going and it doesn't, you're not talking in it, you can probably get your hair done in 10 minutes or less. So hope you found that helpful. Have a good day. Bye.